What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back the day after just an extremely disappointing, well, obviously result, but also performance. However, that's not really the talking point, the performance or the result. It's what Motta had to say post game, and he had something to say I absolutely dislike, and he's getting killed for it by again ex players, by the fans, by the media, because for the first time that I was listening a match post game or like post game from him, that I was like midway through, not even midway through, let's say question three or so, I was like, you're kind of losing it right now, and you are actually making excuses, not directly, but you're planting a seed for other people making excuses to talk this good. So that's what we're going to talk about. Before we do that, as always, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel as always, bell notification, put that on as well, because I will be live later tonight as well. But yeah, 1-1, another draw, 12th on the season in the league alone. I think we drew in the Champions League as well, right? I think we drew against Lille and Villa, so that's 14 on the season, to be honest, unless I'm blanking out another game I want to forget. But it wasn't good. It wasn't good. And he started off his presser well. And I was like, okay, he's coming out to say that he's doing something wrong, or potentially he needs to make a change, or he's going to give an idea of what he wants to do to turn it around. But then he lost it. He started off by saying, man, it's too much, too many draws. And the issue as well is that in many of these games where we drew games, we were ahead. Like, we were ahead in many of these games, and to top it off, we were ahead and in control at a certain point. And then he said, at one point, we stop playing, we drop back, and we concede. And it's actually rinse and repeat every single week. So I was like, okay, he's coming with a solution right now, or he's coming out saying something, and then he switched it up with something I absolutely, completely 100% dislikes. He said that, keep in mind, we only lost 2 games on the season. And I was like, that's fair, but you drew 12, you drew 14, I guess. And he said we were a young team and we had a lot of injuries, and that was never made. That was never used as an excuse. He's trying to say, I'm not using that as an excuse. However, it's still the case, and I think we all acknowledge the fact that this team is unexperienced. I think we all acknowledge that. I think we all acknowledge that the injuries we've had, that's insane and that's unfortunate, and he cannot really, like, he cannot do anything about the injuries, I guess. We can all acknowledge that, but at the same point, when you draw 12 games in the league, you cannot use that as an excuse anymore. Earlier on, that could be an excuse, man. Another injury. Remember the time when we had absolutely nobody on the bench, and we had like 2 goalkeepers, Rui and Mbangula on the bench, and that was kind of it, basically. Like, that was a time where I was like, okay, this is actually insane, and this is stuff. And I think we all agreed on. However, right now, when you're 19 games into the season, halfway through, and it's as worse as a Del Neri season, you cannot use as an excuse anymore. It's done, because the issue is not injuries right now. The issue is you lose control of games. And even if it's fitness wise, because the players you're playing are not fit because they're coming back of injuries, or some are just playing week in, week out, that's fine. But you cannot lose control every single week to that extent where it's always the same thing. We watched that game, and when we went up 1-0, I think nobody, and when I say nobody, actually nobody was convinced we were going to see out a 1-0 win. Nobody watching that game. And even though Torino had the possession towards the last part of the first half and early on in the second half, they were not dangerous. I was not looking at Torino pressing us or having possession, and I was like, oh my God, they're going to score at one point. I didn't have that feeling. Like, I knew it was going to happen, but not based on what they were creating, or they were putting us in any real danger or problems. That was not the case. The point is, we were going to concede, and everybody knew we were going to concede, because we concede at the first moment possible, where even if a team has possession and tries to press us, they don't create anything because we don't give up a shitload of chances. That's not the issue. The issue is we concede with the first chance we actually give away, basically. And everybody knew that was going to happen. And then he topped it off by saying that we came well out of the locker room. I was like, that's actually insane. Like, that was the worst start to a second half I've seen in a very long time. We were getting bullied for 10 minutes straight. Like, we couldn't keep all of the ball. We didn't win a duel. We couldn't string two passes together. And we were getting bullied. Not that Torino were creating chances, but we were just getting physically bullied. Corners, we couldn't get out of our own half. And yes, after that, you take over because Torino are not good. I know people in the comments are saying Torino are a good team. They're not a good team. And if you want to say what makes that of us, we're not good as well. Like, I'm not saying we're good, but Torino are not a good team. So I expect us to dominate in that second half because Torino are not a good team. Besides Ricci, nobody's gonna go for Torino players. They're not good. Like, there's not special. There's nothing special in that squad or team whatsoever. So we said that, and I was like, no, that start to the second half was poor. It was rubbish. You cannot come out and say that because that's a lie. Everybody saw that. It's a lie. And he's making, like he said, we never made that as an excuse. But by saying that, he's actually trying to convince people to use that as an excuse. And we all use that basically, or we all acknowledge the injuries earlier on. But it's midway through the season, and we cannot win games. This team has not a single clue how to win games. They don't. They know how to control part of the games to go 1-0 up. They know how to do that, but they don't know how to control 90 minutes of a game and see out the result. That's what Koopmeiners said. He said we cannot see out 90 minutes. We cannot control 90 minutes, and that's just costing us in this league because it will cost you. You're still playing against professionals. You cannot switch off. Ex-players coming out saying that it's all too stale, it's all too predictable, it's all memorize what you want to do, but what you want to do is not good enough. And we can all see that. It's slow, it's very predictable, it's very relying on your wingers, which is cool, but if it's not working, then it's not cool anymore. It's just not working. So I don't know what the solution is. Like, I can post transfer talks and I can talk about transfers. They're not going to help us. The transfers we're going to do right now, obviously quality-wise, I think Araujo is better than a Gatti and a Kalulu. Like, pure quality-wise, not fitness-wise, whatever. Just quality-wise, he is better. However, that's not going to make us win games because it's not like the injuries. That's why we're on the transfer market, because we are short of players, in certain positions. We're not in the transfer market also to improve, but like the players we're bringing in are not going to single-handedly improve the situation because this is a team thing. The team collapses, not players. Individually, it's not like it's hot and cold with some players, but as a team, it's not good. Individuals are not consistent, are not good. Koopmeiners is playing rubbish. That ball for Mbangula, man, come on. 60 million or 10 million we pay for you. You're a professional footballer. I expect you to make that pass. I've seen you make those passes 1,000 times at Atalanta, and that's 2-0 for Mbangula, and that's done game, basically. That's the things we're missing right now. Maybe ridiculous and simple. That's a simple pass for Mbangula, and he puts it away. It's 2-0, and it's game over because Torino are absolutely rubbish. They don't have anything to come back from 2 goals down. But that is what missing. Players are not playing well. The team as a group unit is not playing well, and Motta is 100% fairly getting criticized. I'm not saying get him out. I still believe in him, but at the same time, I need to acknowledge that it's not good enough, and he needs to make a change because we look scared at times. We look timid. We look like we are actually scared to push on and kill off games. We don't have that conviction right now, and that needs to come from him. He needs to install that in these players because there's no Del Piero, Chiellini, and Buffon in the squad who's going to install that. It's going to need to come from you. You're going to need to convince these players they're good enough to kill off games the moment they go up. And then individually, players like Koopmeiners, they need to play better. And if they don't, you need to bench him. He said if he's fit, the entire team is better. Are you suggesting he's not fit? It's January, and if that's the case, then do not play him. Douglas Luiz, not a world-class performance, but a much better performance than I've seen from other midfielders in terms of getting the ball out of his feet and finding finding his teammates, finding solutions. Give him a run in games. Do that instead of benching him again and go back to what wasn't working earlier on as well. So I don't know, but he's getting criticized and heavily, and he deserves to. You know, again, I'm not saying get him out. You might do. Let me know in the comments why you would get him out, because I don't think getting him out is a solution right now as well. Because we've seen it with different coaches as well. It's a team thing right now. It's a culture thing that needs to change. You know, Milan, for example, won the Supercoppa. Context matters. They won it. They should have not. They should not have won it. Yes, should they did, but they're still the same team. I watched them against Cagliari. That's the same Milan I've seen all season. Not good enough, missing chances, players not performing on top, layout, and that like it's not. Oh, you won the Supercoppa. If you watch that game and you know the context, it's not as simple as that. Things need time. However, things also need to improve over time, and that's not happening right now. So let me know in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will speak to you guys later tonight. Ciao.